Maria Adelaida Gil Martinez. Did I pronounce correctly? Who would tell us about Spanish learner corpus CAES, a study on how Russian learners use imperfect tense in Spanish.
So, good morning to everybody. Thank you for listening to me, and it's an honor for me to be here. I'm a Spanish teacher at the Instituto Cervantes of Moscow. I can speak a little bit Romanian because I'm married to a Romanian guy, so that's why. And I'm here for two main reasons. The first one is just to present the CAES, which is a learner corpora, corpus de aprendices de español. I'm going to pronounce many Spanish words, sorry, but it's a Spanish corpus, that's why. And the second reason why I am here is to ask for data, Romanian data. I don't know how much you are going to charge me. I know it's very expensive, but anyway, I want to ask for data, and you will see how. Because after listening to all the presentations, my mind is kind of dizzy. So I'll do my presentation, but finally I will ask for data. So it's becoming my main aim right now. So CAES, my presentation is divided in three parts. I'll do my best, promise. First part, I'm going to talk about CAES, the Spanish corpus. Second, the second part of the presentation, it's about a small linguistic study I did on how Russian learners learn the imperfect tense in Spanish. It's a big problem for them. They will say for all his life, in Spanish, yo estudiaba español 3 años, in Romanian, I don't know, something like I învățam Romanian in timpul 3 ani, nu știu cum se zice, no, imperfect tense instead of simple past. And the last part is conclusions. Okay, so CAES, it's a learner corporate. We have to move to another area of knowledge, which is teaching and learning a language as a foreign languages. CAES, Corpus de Aprendices de Español, it is funded by the Instituto Cervantes. The Instituto Cervantes is a governmental institution which objective is to promote Spanish language and culture. The corpus is designed by a research group at the University of Santiago de Compostela in the northwest of Spain, and the data we already collected in the corpus come from the different Instituto Cervantes we have around the world and the universities we work with. What else about CAES? Okay, it's a computerized corpus of Spanish as a foreign language. The two main researchers are Professor Guillermo Rojo and Ignacio Palacios from the University of Santiago. All the data was compiled between 2012 and 2014, and right now it contains almost 600,000 words. The data comes from written material only. We don't have oral material. Not yet. We're thinking of that. What kind of data do we have in CAES? We have collected text from Spanish learners of different languages. So we have 5 proficiency levels represented from A1 to C1, learners from 6 different L1, English, French, Arabic, Portuguese, Russian, and Mandarin Chinese. That's why I'm here to ask for more data, because we would like to add Romanian language as A1. Right, in the first collections. Participated 1,423 male and female. As you see, there are many female and few male. And the age range from 15 years old to, well, 61, I think 70. So, as you see, here we have the 6 languages, the 6 L1 languages. We have a lot of samples and a lot of words from Arabic and Portuguese countries. Why? Because we have a lot of Instituto Cervantes in the north of Africa. That's why all the samples come from there. And also, in Portugal, we only have 1, but we have 5 in Brazil. That's why the number of tokens are so high for these languages. And as you see, and that's why I'm here too, in Russian we only have 1 Instituto Cervantes, and people are not very open to this kind of studies. That's why we only could get 67 participants. Well, you can see the distribution according to the LA. And here, well, why is important the gender distribution? Most of the tokens and samples come from girls, from women, and we think language is completely different when women speak a language is different from men speaking the same language. There are a lot of features that change. So it's a good thing, I think, to do research on the way a language is spoken, coming from men or women, and the age you have it here. Okay. More about CAES. How did we compilate all this data? Well, in 4 main phases before the data collection. Okay, computer application, they created a computer application so the participants themselves could enter the data directly in the computer. I'm going to show you later that. Of course, in all the countries, we prepare a protocol for all the students so they know the data we are collecting is going to use for educative and aims and objectives. And, well, before doing all this stuff, the data was piloted with several groups of students at University of Santiago. While the data collection, okay, participants had to complete a number of written tasks, 3 written tasks, and these written tasks follow the norms of the official Spanish exam, which are called DELE. What kind of text did we have to write? Well, I think you are very familiar to this kind of language test. Writing emails, critical reviews of books, applying for a job, and so on. And the third step, text encoding and annotation. I'm not very much implying this, so I cannot get into detail because my professor did that. So I can say that the format are XML documents. The texts were tagged both automatically and manually with 702 different tags. And the language they use to encode and annotate is FreeLink. I don't know if you are used to this kind of language. I think so. Finally, the texts were manually disambiguating. And it's very expensive, too, to have students, PhD students, disambiguating all this kind of texts written in Spanish. You can imagine what kind of Spanish beginning from the A1. So the 4th stage is the search tool, which I would really like to show you how it works. Look. Well, this is the interface the students, where the students have to write all their data, their personal data. the tasks they have to do, and this is the, no, let me check. What? These are all the tasks they have to do, and I want to show you here. Oh, I don't. No. I want to show you the search tool, but I cannot find it. Okay. It is not here, but I can show you, I would like to show you the corpus, because it's a free corpus, so you can enter, and it's very easy to see how it works. How CAES is different from the other Spanish learner corpus? Especially because of the search tool, because it's very, how do we say, it's very easy to work with that, and because of the different LA we already have collected. We have 6 L1, and there is not another corpus, Spanish corpus, which consists of 6 different language, LA1 language. To do my research, why is it important for language teaching and learning a language, this kind of corpus? The research I did is based on error analysis. I take a text and I can see through this corpus what type of mistakes my students do. It's based in error analysis, in the concept of interlanguage, and in the concept of fossilization. My Russian students, for instance, keep doing the same mistake from, let's say, a level B2 to a level C2. They fossilize these kind of mistakes. So making research on this kind of text allow teachers to develop strategies to improve our abilities teaching, and for the students to see how to improve these mistakes. So, what? Here you have the 2 examples I get angry at. Ella bailaba salsa al salir de clase. She used to dance salsa after school. Ella bailó salsa al salir de clase. She danced salsa after school. They cannot distinguish the 2 senses of the verb. How these 2 forms of the verb encode different meanings. For them, it's completely, I don't know, understandable, I think, and why. I was thinking and thinking, what's going on here? And, well, I'm going to go. I think it is because of the concept of aspect in Russia and the concept of time in Romanic languages. So, Russian speakers, what is aspect? I don't know. You might know what aspect means. Russian speakers distinguish between perfective and imperfective forms with morphological difference. But the imperfective forms acquire semantic features of cancellation of an action, connection, at taking the emphasis away from the result. And the perfective form denotes completion and result. So she studied for 3 years. She studied Spanish for 3 years. For Russian students means for a long of time, because 3 years is a long of time. So they tend to use imperfect tense, which for Spanish, and I think for Romanian too, means kind of routine in the past, but not an end in the action. So, I went to CAES to see what's going on, if my hypothesis would be met by the CAES. You see, this is the interface you can look for. So, you have grammar elements, but imagine, estaba means to be in imperfect sense, so I wanted to see how many times they use estaba in vez de estuve. So you write estaba, you write the grammatical categories, and what you have is this. All the examples, A2, Russo, mi vacación fue bastante tranquilo y relajante. You can see all the examples in which they should use estaba, but they use the simple past tense. So, here you have the results. We found in the level A2 167 examples in total. In A2, surprisingly, there were only 5 mistakes, in B2 only 4, and in B2 only 2. It means that I might be grown. I'm sure I wasn't grown, but what's happened with guys? Well, the amount of samples and the amount of words we have for Russian are very little, so the statistical compound is not very accurate. So my students keep doing this mistake, but what I find in CAES, it's kind of, well, it is a mistake, we have to work on that mistake, but it's not so serious as it seems to be to me in class. That's why we need to get more samples of Russian tests, of English tests, but especially of Russian tests. To convey, well, okay, conclusions. With CAES wants to become a computational tool designed to carry out analysis among different languages. I tried to show you how I use it between Russian and language, but you can research, for instance, between French and English, Spanish and Arabic, Spanish and Chinese. That's the good thing of CAES. As far as my study is concerned, my Russian students used imperfect tense in Spanish to convey semantic features concerning durative and iterative aspect, which comes from their L1 Russian. We don't share the same concept of time. They use aspect and we use time. Which are, after doing this research, which are the recommendations for teaching? Especially analyze the meaning of tenses in Spanish, since they do not match with the Russian tenses, and introduce the term of periphrasis from the very beginning, which in general start doing that at the level of B1, and to work on contrastive analysis in class, especially contrastive analysis in class. What else? Plans for incorporating more material. We need more samples from Russian learners since we cannot obtain a field-grained result, and we need samples for other languages, such as Romanian, German, Hungarian, Italian, and Polish. That's why I'm here, to ask data from Romanian students. And we are still thinking about to get data, spoken data, but it would be in a next step, maybe next year or in 2 years, 2022, I think. But we want to collect spoken data to compare the prosody and intonation with native speakers. So we need to collect native speaker samples and non-native speaker samples to see the intonation and all this kind of stuff. And the last main would be to analyze patterns in building sentences, both oral and written text, in order to improve how students, not only Russian students, how students learning Spanish can improve quicker, and how teachers may improve their dynamics and their abilities to teach not only Spanish, but any language as a foreign language. And that's it. Thank you. So if you want to see the interface, I can show you. It's free and it's very nice.
Thank you, Maria. Concerning the pronunciation, the speech part of the reference corpus of Romanian about my colleagues told you about, it has something like 800,000 of words,
800,000 words.
which you can search and listen in isolation or in context.
In context.
Okay, so if there are some questions, yes.
You mentioned the fact that you manually disambiguate, I think was the term that you used. What does it mean?
We have some words that can mean different things. For instance, in Spanish, semantic and morphological. Salimos, well, everything in Spanish, so it's kind of difficult. Salimos is present and it's simple past. So there must be someone who has to disambiguate this kind of context. Is the student talking about present or is he talking about past? Because in one case or another, the meaning is completely different. It's the most expensive part of the project.
You said that women's speech is different from men's speech. Can you notice this even at the A1 level?
I think so. I can notice that. Well, I didn't do the research on. I didn't do the research on CAES, but it would be a good research. Yeah, in the lexical part, they use another word. They know a few words when they are A1 level, but they use different words, and especially the way they interact, this kind of, they do it in a different way. And lexical strategies and appellation strategies too. It's completely different. And you can, if you read a text in Spanish, I think you can say, or I would be able to say, if the text is written by a man or by a woman. I don't know.
Give me one. Thank you, Maria, once again.